Hi, I'm Jenna with Temple of Geek, and I'm here today to talk to you about one of my personal favorite webcomics, Lore Olympus. Whether or not you have been a fan for a long time or you're just getting into the comic, I'm here to let you know everything you need to know about where to start and what Lore Olympus is about. Lore Olympus was created, written, and illustrated by Rachel Smythe. She is fantastic and has brought new life to a classic myth of Hades and Persephone. Lore Olympus follows the complicated and slow burn relationship between the goddess of spring, Persephone, and the god of the underworld, Hades. This comic also has the entire pantheon of Greek gods, from Zeus himself all the way through very small or minor gods, nymphs, and other creatures of the sorts. So, if you're a fan of Greek mythology, this is definitely something that you do not want to miss out on. Now, in the original Greek myth, Persephone is the daughter of Zeus, the king of the gods, and Demeter, who is the goddess of harvest. Persephone is considered a vegetation goddess, and she is responsible for growth, harvest, and other things that you would associate with spring. In the original myth, Hades kidnaps Persephone against her will and brings her to the underworld. He wants her to be his queen, and to do so, he basically tricks her into eating a pomegranate. In doing so, that means she is tethered to the underworld for 6 months out of the year. So, this myth basically was a way to explain the change of seasons. You have the 6 months that Persephone is bound to the underworld, where vegetation does not grow, the harvest is not plentiful, and then the 6 months that Persephone is allowed out of the underworld and back with her mother on Earth is when you have spring, when you have growth and new harvest, you have life. And that's basically what Persephone represents in Greek mythology. Rachel Smythe's Lore Olympus takes this original myth of Hades and Persephone and turns it on its head, really. Rachel Smythe does a great job in showing that Persephone is a character who has autonomy of herself. You see that Hades himself is also a tragic character, at least in Smythe's world. The story between Persephone and Hades unfolds over the course of years. So, as mentioned earlier, it's a real slow burn of a relationship, but it takes away that aspect of trickery on Hades' part. In Greek mythology, Hades is typically depicted as a villain or a trickster of sorts. He's associated with the underworld, with death, with these things that we traditionally think of as equivalent to a sort of hellish landscape. But Rachel Smythe reimagines Olympus, reimagines the entire pantheon of Greek gods and goddesses, and that includes Hades. In Lore Olympus, Hades is more almost like a company owner, a businessman of sorts. He runs the underworld, not because he wanted to, but because out of the three brothers, he kind of was just given the underworld. And he can't necessarily argue with Zeus because every time people argue with Zeus, things don't go that well. The people of the underworld absolutely love Hades, and that's something that I really enjoy seeing unfurl throughout the story. He is beloved by his people, and when Persephone meets Hades, there is an instant connection. Persephone is really drawn to Hades and continually goes back to the underworld. And whereas other gods and goddesses consider it kind of a place where they don't want to necessarily venture, they don't want to go, it's a source of darkness. Persephone finds that she loves it there. She loves the people, she loves the atmosphere, and she really thrives in the underworld, even though her status as a fertility goddess wouldn't necessarily vibe with things in the underworld. Among the many defining traits that make Lore Olympus such a standout in the world of storytelling is Persephone's rich and deep development as a character herself. Persephone is much more than her romance with Hades or heiress to her mother's fortune. She is a character who has free will, who knows what she wants, and who is entering the world of Olympus to really take charge of her own destiny. Persephone is a complex protagonist who tries to make the best choice in every situation she finds herself in, though those situations might not always be the most easy to navigate. This is a comic that provides intrigue, there's drama, there's scandal, there's love, there's all the things you can expect from Greek mythology, but twisted in a way that makes it more relatable to today and reimagines these characters that a lot of us have been fascinated with Now, if webcomics really aren't your cup of tea and you prefer something more traditional, Lore Olympus has also been adapted into graphic novels that can be found easily on Amazon. Another thing longtime fans and new fans alike can be excited about as well is that Lore Olympus is now being turned into an animated series. You can expect more Lore Olympus in different forms, from webcomics to books to an animated series in the future. If you want to know more about Lore Olympus, I actually interviewed Rachel Smythe at New York Comic Con this past year in 2023, and she talked about everything from the graphic design, from personality traits of her characters, and from things that inspired her. You can go ahead and find that right here on our YouTube channel under the Portrait of a Fangirl playlist, or you can also look anywhere you stream podcasts for Portrait of a Fangirl. If you're a fan of Lore Olympus, let us know in the comments, and stay tuned for more to come.